Here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's me and Lady J. Good afternoon. We out here. We out here.
Let's see.
Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, we
Okay, there you go.
out here. There we go. Good afternoon, y'all. Guess what? It's 12 o'clock and it's not even Wednesday. Boo.
Right.
It's Tuesday. My sister is in the StreamYard room with me.
Listen,
And I'm glad to have you, sis. How you doing, sis?
we good and we busy out here, but we good busy.
Look, it's that works that go with that faith.
Come on.
All put together. Period. Period.
Listen,
Point blank. So we're gonna take a second. Y'all give us a second. I want to go and share this on my page. So good habits to have is to go and share stuff because y'all know the way the internet's set up. You got to tell people 12 times that you are in a place.
listen.
So I'm gonna share this again.
And then you got to get on 12 minutes to get there.
Right? Oh, that's so ill. But man, whichever. You gotta post it at least 13 minutes
Yeah.
for and it'll I tell you this, I went in and I put in I set an email to go out to the Grace for this group so they could get it over there. Uh but it look here, it takes some diligence to live this life that we live in. And it's
Listen.
all good because we where we're supposed to be, right? So for y'all who do not know, this is my sister Jimmica, aka Lady J Speaks. Let me tell y'all, if y'all ever want to get somebody on your team who gonna be
Listen.
spiritual or who gonna go to God on your behalf, this is hold on, where's she at? This sis is what? Look, I have to say, like, so Jimmica she'll do a live, like she'll do like a prayer topic and live, like in the mornings on her Facebook page. So if you're not following her on Facebook, I strongly suggest you do that. But I'm telling you, these girl, I could go back and based on the topic and say, okay, she praying for the men folk. Let me go pray for my brothers and just come into agreement with what you already have prayed. Like I love the fact that it's kind of like over the last year, God has made us make a library of
Praise
reference
God.
points to go back to, right?
Yes, Lord.
That thing is good. So shout out to you for what you do. Shout out to you for your creativity. Shout out to you for uh um what am I gonna call it? What am I gonna call it? The enterprise of inspired to
Listen.
express.net. Let's go.
Let it
Call it
go.
all out. Period. Period. And you know what? Before we get into it real quick, y'all, because this is a pop-up wellness, this is a wellness chat because me and Jimmy can get on the phone and we talk and we talk and we talk
Go, go,
and
go.
things come up, right?
Right.
And so we just kind of are locking in, like, okay, we're gonna have a conversation, we're gonna stream it, we're gonna record it, and we just gonna do it. So this is a conversation that we started recently and we're gonna finish it with y'all. Okay.
Right.
So before we get into it, sis, tell them a little bit of your background with Inspired to Express and what your vision is with Inspired to Express and who you want to impact.
Okay, so my baby, Inspired to Express, it is a well, it has started and it was birthed actually during the pandemic, possibly 2 years ago online, a collection of items that are intentionally placed to provoke you and whoever else to inspire you to express yourself. A lot of times we are not often put in places or in situations or environments I realized, or the Holy Spirit allowed me to realize that I was not alone in that journey, that there is so many of us out there that do not necessarily know how to express ourselves in a way that is healthy. So, Inspired to Express was truly birthed from a place of process, and it was birthed from a place of experience, understanding that we, as you have stated multiple times, we are building what serves us. We are building those things to help the us that we see or saw 10 years ago or 12 years ago did not have, so that they can have that groundwork. And so that's Inspired to Express. We cater to specifically filling the void of our brown brothers and sisters, daughters and princesses, so that they can also understand that they are well aware that there is beauty in us as well, no matter our tone of melanin. That we are filling that void as well, so that our little girls and our nieces and nephews can see themselves in the journals, in the bags, and things of that nature. I am a mom. I have three wonderful princesses that keep me running. So if you do see any of my niche, or you see any of my journey anywhere in social media, you probably will not likely see me without my girls somewhere. So that really was the pivot of this process of thinking for our topic on today, is the multiple things in which we have to do and maintaining that balance. And so um I'll share a little bit about that, and we're gonna go with the flow and however it leads.
Okay. Look, goes to text messages. Literally. 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 Just a FYI, I think your signal kind of is going in and out. But when you're here, we hear everything you're saying, but we get a break in and then you come back like you never left. So just the FYI, but we tracking with you. It ain't like,
Okay.
oh my God, I don't know what's going on. No, we gonna have this conversation on today.
Okay.
Literally.
Okay.
Okay, so look, we both were like looking back through the conversation trying to find what she said. Okay, so this is what she said. She said, wellness work. Are you projecting off on them how you felt like a parent should show up? Or is that how they actually feel? Let's have a
Mhm.
conversation. This is what she texted me though, y'all. This is text me. Let's have the look at here. This is Grace for this. And what we do in Grace for this is community conversations and collaborations. And that is exactly what you see in this moment. This is community. We having this conversation and we collaborating because we doing what God told us to do. All right. So
Right.
like what made you arrive to that question?
So I won't even take the credit. Holy Spirit was asking me the question.
Ooh,
But
okay.
it was more so, okay, so listening into the dynamics of what we have going on, we understand that God has us in this series of, I feel, divine connections, divine moments, pivots that are allowing us to come out of this wellness journey well. And in that caliber of journeying, that we have to still mom, we still got a wife, we still got to be ministry, we still got to be mentor. And so along that line of thinking, we were me mom the mom had was saying, well, okay, is my children gonna feel this way if I'm not here? Versus where I believe the Lord is saying I need to be, so I can be well for them later on down this line. So it was that balance of me being that mom that shows up all the time versus me having to be the whatever you're asking me to do in this latter moment. So it was just a tussle there. It was a struggle there. And I literally had to sit with God and be like, where you want me to be? Where do you need me to be? Because I know if I'm where I'm supposed to be, doing the thing that you need me to be doing at that moment, you're gonna handle everything else around in that moment, include my babies.
Yeah, that's good. That's good because the reality, and I say this all the time, the reality of alignment over allegiance means that if I'm in alignment, other things in my life are not going to go array. If
Right.
I'm where I'm supposed to be, clearly would not God cover and protect everything else concerning me?
Come
If
on.
I'm gonna be obedient
Ooh,
about
God.
where he tells me to be, why would I suffer loss somewhere else?
Yes, God. Ooh.
Like, that's not how he's set up, right?
Right.
But what we have to like really start to sit with is what part of us is informing our decisions.
That part. Yes.
What part of us is informing our decisions? Am I doing my kids this way because that's how my parents did? And we will model how we were parented
Right.
because that's what you were taught. Like people will duplicate the behavior in their household because by default, even if you didn't like it, by default, that's how you have been taught. So we might go back to that default and don't even know it.
Right.
Don't even know it. But I love how you said the Holy Spirit asked you that question because we do a thing called prophetic journaling. Shout out to PP.
Yes. Come
Shout out to
on.
KBN,
Yes.
Hope Squad, Chanel E. Martin, and Chandler Bay Prophet and Pastor. Come on,
Yes.
fivefold in there.
Come on.
I love what goes on in that community where it is teaching us to look for the prompt or respond to the prompt or
Right.
listen for the question or ask clarifying questions. If you're not clear, ask.
Come on.
They say ask and ask, seek and knock.
Yes,
Like ask,
Lord.
you're seeking, you'll find, knocking the door should be open. Like, it's real simple, but we make it hard.
We do. I think the truth in that is sometimes we be afraid of what the answer gonna be, because
Mm,
just I realized that in this season, like even when he asked me that, it wasn't no boom, it wasn't no thunder lightning, it was still small voice. It's
yeah.
almost like, okay, so let's, even with the, I'll even address and say to the opposite of, I think in that line of thinking, it was not necessarily how I was raised, but because of that's how I was not raised, you want to do everything in your ability to be sure that your children are equipped with what you did not have. So when you said protect, then I was like, so yeah, what we doing? What are we doing?
Girl, look, that just made me think of something else that I wrote. I want to say the the graphic says either are we protecting or preparing,
Hmm. Hmm.
projecting, projecting or protecting.
Hmm.
I should probably make it all three. Are you protecting, preparing, or projecting? Let's just do that.
Listen, I
Let's
said
just do all three.
projecting. What did I say? Projecting, protecting, or deflecting.
Ooh,
And that was in the
ooh.
bathroom. Can I say that? That was on the throne room before the live. I was like,
That's because it can be, oh my gosh, because it can be any of those things. And that's part of the reason why I'm excited about this weekend, because we're doing the
yeah,
Wellness Work Summit this weekend. And the reality of it is we have to navigate through all of that.
all of that.
You can't skip it. It would
Girl,
be irresponsible. It would be irresponsible for us to skip all of that. It makes you unsafe
yes.
out here making decisions.
Oh,
And
God.
you know that I'm talking about it because I've been that person. Okay, let's understand. When you realize that you're the unsafe person, ooh,
Oh, God.
ooh, it's me.
Help
My
us.
God.
Yeah.
The problem is you. You
Yeah.
is me.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
that thing is real. And when
yeah.
we when and see, this is not easy to do, and we can laugh and giggle about it now because we've been doing it.
Right.
It's become familiar to us. But if you're not familiar with it, you don't understand it. It will cause all kinds of emotions to rise up in you. You can feel all kinds of ways about yourself. You can feel inadequate, unworthy, devalued. Like there's so many ways that you can feel about yourself apart from having the tools and resources to navigate through this well.
Right.
Yeah.
Thus that community piece that we highlight here, because I dare not tell anybody to try to do this alone. Like, mm-mm.
Yeah. It's not something that we talk about in my journal. The journal. Look, Graceful is the devotional, a 21-day journey for women growing through grief. I talk a lot, and just in general, I talk about a lot on perspective,
Yeah.
and how we have to have balance with it. And before you jump on the perspective bandwagon, you need to jump on the validation bandwagon,
Oh,
because when people are in their moment, they don't need you to come bring anything else to the moment. The
mm,
moment that they're in is already big enough. And
yes.
validation for this moment I'm having, this struggle I'm in, this pain I'm feeling, I need you to validate and recognize that I'm in this moment and it's real. Allow it
Agree.
to be real for me.
Right.
Don't bring no other perspective in, not as of yet, not as of yet. And
Mm,
you get to a point where your perspective, if Kanitra's having a hard time and Jimmica has another perspective, Jimmica's gonna help validate what Kanitra's experience is first. You're gonna support me in that moment. And then when I'm ready, when I'm prepared, when my heart is ready, when
right.
my heart knows it's safe, to hear somebody else speak, and then you give that perspective, then I probably have more capacity for it. I can
Mm.
honor what you're saying. I can consider it. Sometimes we can't even consider what nobody else got to say.
Come
I don't
on.
have space.
Mm,
Look, been there, shoot.
right. But see, that's where the maturity comes in on the here, because if you
Mm,
perceive it wrong, you're gonna be offended. You're gonna put the wall up and assume they don't want it, and it's not that they don't want it. It's just, as you stated, at that moment they don't have the capacity for it. because I've been on the opposing end of that, needing that safe place to be valid, my emotion to be validated. And when it wasn't, then now, so you're illegitimizing my feelings. So now there's resentment. Now you're making it hard for me because now, yeah, I need as a safe place, but you made it this room of exposure that wasn't that's not what we needed. That's not what we needed. So it makes that process a little bit harder because you're looking for eyes to just see in that moment what I'm dealing with. I'm not asking you. I recently said this to myself. We don't pacify the prophet. We asking for compassion. We're not asking you to pacify it. We already know this work hard. We already know God don't play. We already know this, but we're asking for compassion in the moment. Even God gave grace. Even Jesus looked upon the multitude and had compassion on the people. So just discerning that moment and actually being able to serve that person in the way that they need to be served so that you can help them and not hinder that process.
Girl, I had to go to the comments. Don't pass by the process. My God, we can't skip over that. We can't.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna pin it up there just in case for somebody else later. Look, oh my gosh, like, oh girl, yeah. It's,
He don't be
it's
playing. He don't.
like
Mm-mm.
that is so heavy, right? Because we are gifted people. Like
Mhm.
there is nobody living who's not gifted. We're here on purpose,
Right?
here for a specific reason. You are a gift to the earth for a certain group, people, time, place, or thing. You're here on purpose.
Yeah.
And we are gifted, and we cannot, I'm taking my time. We cannot disregard the gift that we are.
Mhm.
I disregard who I am. I won't walk in who I am.
Mhm.
So me doing my wellness work empowers me to actually be who I'm supposed to be because I got less narrative and less conversation and less demeaning words towards myself
Right.
first. Because after a while, it don't matter who say anything to you.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter who validates or invalidates you. When you feel like trash about yourself, you're going to feel like trash about yourself.
Right.
When you realize you the best thing since sliced bread that God called you to be, you going to walk around like the
Okay.
best thing since sliced bread since God
Right.
called you to be. Like it's really in us. When we do our own wellness work, we come to the revelation of who we actually are.
Right. Ooh, God. That's yeah. I put that season of self-awareness. That's what he told me. So totally understand it. And then appreciating that we don't arrive there at the same place because we ain't on the same assignment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Put some respect on yourself and put some respect on who your neighbor is.
Come on.
Right? We want everybody to show up the same way. I'm not you.
Girl. Oh God. Mm,
Why?
mm,
Why? Like, and it's easier. I feel like it's easier said than done
mm.
because if you think about like how we were raised and then conceptually having a role model or a mentor or a leader or a covering, like those things are important. But if we do not manage those visuals well, we begin to duplicate exactly what we see rather than hear who we're supposed to be.
Mm. My God.
And you become a copy.
Hmm.
Oh, Pastor Chandler said something today, and I wrote in the comments in KBN. Faith, faith ain't. This is what I said, but this is me recapping what he said. Faith ain't faithing if it's mimicking.
Oh gosh.
Right,
Right.
right, yeah, yeah. PBD was in an inferno on today,
All right.
literally. But I was like, that is amazing, and I believe it's some kind of a wellness work that we have to do, um, with being comfortable with realizing that we don't look like the model in front of us.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
It's okay.
Mm.
It's okay. You have to coach yourself. And the same thing, I feel like that rolls over, with your children. Like we have a thing that we see. I'm real clear. My mama got a thing that she see about me. I'm clear she got a thing she saw for my brother. Like you're supposed to do that. As a parent, you're supposed to have a vision for your children. However, it ain't your exact business on all the details on how exactly that shows up. And that sounds real strange.
Mm.
It sounds real strange because we are responsible for our kids.
Right.
But it's kind of like I'm responsible for them, but you made them. So I'm gonna take care of them, but I'm gonna also give them to you. But I gotta ask you what to do about them. But you gave them to me, but
Come,
not really for me.
come on. And I mean, it's like, especially when you get into, because I'm sure we could have almost a contrast, how you have in school, a contrast and a comparison chart where our minimum in that circle will probably be at minimum not very much in common simply because of the upbringing of our household. So what that parenting gonna look like coming from my experience with two quote unquote unsaved unchurched parents versus what that might have looked like or been modeled like in your house, and then having to raise my children up in the faith. So it's a whole typical like plethora of questioning of, is this right, or is this right, is this the way to go, is this who to ask, who to lean, should I too much reel it in, like it's a whole almost day to day, like requires nothing but God.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
the village, however the village show up, but appreciating that village, like yeah. So it can get somewhat complicated sometimes when you feel like, okay, as long as I show up in this manner, then I'm parenting well. But when we have this whole generation of children that might be like, Mom, deuces, I'm good. Like I got my friends here. Mom, I'm good. And then there's the other time where, because I do have three young ladies, that they need their mama to show up. They need the mother to show up because that's a girl moment that needs to be had with her mom or whatever. Me and my husband discussed, my daughter, my oldest, shout out Jaja, turning 16. I was
yay.
like, for her sweet 16, I told him, I was like, no, we paying everybody because I ain't doing nothing but catering to my baby that day. I'm getting her hair done, I'm
Oh,
getting nails, we getting dressed. I was like, no, I'm not cooking, I'm not decorating, I'm not doing anything that day but being mommy. Like, period. So just
that's good.
understand it, the space and the time of, as we stated primarily in the beginning, are we, well, for me, was I trying to parent in a manner to where I felt like my parents should have shown up, or was I modeling what I saw, or was I just, or was that what they really needed when they are of age to where they can communicate? Mom, I'm good. So yeah, having a conversation with them sometimes is just settle all that thought, because I'll be thinking a lot.
That's good. 'Cause I've been thinking a lot, and that's the honesty of it. I love the fact that you talked about the birthday milestone birthdays, because in my family, my mama did not play about no birthdays.
Yeah.
Me. Hear me. 3, 5, and 18
Mm,
were occasions, whole occasions, two-tier cakes, parties, outfits. 5 was an occasion. I said 5. I said 3. I said 5. And I see them in my head.
mm-hmm,
I could see my little outfits that I had on because my mama made up her mind that, hey, this is how this is gonna be. Um, and the same thing happened for my brother and myself. Both of us had 3s, 5s, and 18s.
mm-hmm,
But what is amazing to me is who picked up on what. Now my brother got degrees on degrees on degrees. My brother turned 40 this year. We ain't gotta do nothing. I'm straight. Me, baby, we can have a party every year. We can have a formal invitation every year. We can do all of the things. We are different in that way, but we was parented by the same parents. We had the same mama and daddy, same household, the same experiences, but he took to it a particular way, and I took to that thing a particular way. And so after a certain point, I look forward to seeing which things the kids grab a hold to and carry on. Like
Right.
which thing is gonna be like, yeah, I really like that, because it's not like I'm gonna beat you over the head with it type of thing. Um, I believe it was a modeling situation. I believe that it was important to know that you will be celebrated, that you are important, and you are worth me spending this money, getting this cake, and getting these outfits made. You
Right.
know, like period, point blank. If you don't want to do it as you get older, that is perfectly fine. But know this: you were celebrated as a child. Period. So
Oh,
shout out to Jacoya. Let's go, Koya, on
look,
this leg. I'll be there. I will be there. What we
there
wearing?
got to be, got to be. And I
Look,
think
I'll be working so you can be mommy. That's cool.
with
That's whatever we need.
good. Yeah, we need the consulter, we need the event planner, all that juice. Like,
100%.
but since
Yeah.
you segued that so well, I that made me think about my dynamics of birthdays, because I even noticed that even in my marriage, when it came to like certain things that we celebrated and did not celebrate, but we'll stick with birthdays, because I literally could count the number of times that I had a party or like where it was, as you say, celebrated. I can remember like specifically maybe twice where that it was just, and as I stated, when you're older maybe you can see the dynamic different, but when you're a child you don't see it like that. You be trying to figure out why I ain't having parties. I'm trying to you don't understand that at that time my mom was a single mom with one income, and that income did not come from a employer. So being a child, or I don't want to say product of, for being a household or government assistance. So that being the only source of income at that time. And then
That's real though.
more than
That's
one
that's a
sibling.
lot of people's story.
Yeah, more than one sibling. So just looking at the dynamics as an adult at what my mom had to work with, you understand it different. But sometimes until these type of environments or conversations are had in these spaces, you don't realize that. You walk with that the rest of your life and you be like, they didn't celebrate me. Why was I not celebrated? Why was I not special? And then as you stated, it manifests in our adulthood. And so we feel obligated to have these $2,000-$3,000 parties for our children when we go broke. Well, not we. That's not my story because we use wisdom in these streets. But just saying,
Amen.
I've seen the people do these elaborate $3,000-$4,000 parties for 2-3 year olds because they're trying to make up for something that they didn't get. So
Mm.
that was good.
That's yeah. See, that's that wellness work. I remember this was a whole back and forth that me and Jiro were having. So I was like, because when we went through IVF, y'all, me and my husband were going through IVF. And so I had already been planning in my head, we paying off this, we paying off that, which means that when this is paid off, then I can use this whole particular thing towards their first birthday party. I'm already budgeting how much money, and I felt like the people didn't understand me. I don't think y'all understand that this money can be very well spent very easily on a birthday party for a 1 year old. Like,
Easily.
you know, and so from his perspective, it wasn't that big deal, but he wouldn't he was a twin. He
Mm,
was one of four. So mommy probably didn't have budget like that,
okay.
to be spending money on that. And so I learned over time that he wasn't accustomed to parties and stuff like that. I was one of the persons who threw one of his first parties when he got his undergraduate degree. So I learned that his perspective on parties wasn't gonna match mine because you ain't have milestone events growing up as a child. So
Mhm.
it's like, okay, you know, my own work said, don't feel a particular way about the fact that y'all don't see eye to eye on this. Y'all have different experiences and perspectives as it
Right.
relates, and it was okay. And marriage will make you look at how you were raised,
Whew.
because you don't you don't you don't really question how you are until you have to share space with somebody
Oh
who's
my God. Whew. Me, ooh,
is this a problem? I don't understand what the problem is.
I've been like this my whole life. Like,
Exactly. Literally. It's not until
ooh,
you come into a space where you have to share,
girl.
where you have to share so many different things that you have to question why you do a thing a certain way or why your expectation is what it is, and not to think yourself crazy, but to understand that there's potential that the way that I understand it is could not be the best way to do it.
Come on. Oh my gosh. We're not going there. We're not talking about toxic households today. We staying in the vein.
Look, on that note, it's 12:31.
Ooh, we scheduled, pre-scheduled the next, cause Lord, that's
Oh my god!
a
Look, we
whole
gonna write.
nother.
Take that snippet. We're gonna put that snippet. This is
Girl,
what we're gonna pick up on the next wellness chat with Kanisha Moselle and Lady J Speaks, because
huh,
this work.
girl, yeah, featuring the men folk, cause Lord have mercy. What a
Y'all,
bros.
y'all, y'all. Oh girl, but I enjoy us unpacking it, and hopefully you guys understand what we meant when we say, is this for my kids
Right,
or is it for me?
right.
Because there's more than one thing informing how we choose or make decisions or the narrative that we got in our head. Like it's coming from somewhere. So it is a healthy practice to ask, is this for me? Is this for them? What is my why? What is it for? What is the what? Who is it for? All those questions. So shout out to you for hearing that that still small voice. So you weren't talking over them. Hallelujah. You didn't quench them. You let it arise. Amen.
Amen. Yeah,
Thank you for that, and I look forward to doing this some more, y'all.
right.
We can do this for days.
Come on, come on. That archive, that library, that archive of the journals. I mean, come on.
100%. So I'll close out by saying again, thank you to Lady J Speaks. Y'all follow her inside of the description. She has amazing products on her Amazon page. You can get her journals on Amazon. Like I love them things. Look, I don't have one. I got a throwback one. Look, I got to throw
Look, trying to see whether or not yours is in my range. Look,
Good.
I got the cup right here though. Look, we doing
Good.
cups.
Got the mug. I got a mug behind me. You can't see it over there. We got the newest one, y'all. This is the companion
Yes.
journal that goes with the 21-day devotional for women growing through grief. When you get it, it's going to have instructions on the inside of how we're going to move through the journal. And then it's got about the author in the back, and you can understand a little bit about why I'm even doing what I'm doing. Like, it's a whole story, okay?
Okay.
It is a whole it's a whole story, but we'll close out by saying we are doing WellnessWorks Summit this weekend on
Yes,
Saturday,
yes, yes.
9:30 a.m. We are going to start off with live music from Shauna Dominique Harris. Check
Yes.
her out. We're going to have some words from me, some things on my heart, and because I'm obedient, I'm gonna share with the Lord. Tell me to share, right? And then we have a mental health panel of three amazing women who love God and they're passionate about their work. They are professionals. They have counseling services that they provide. They are actively working in mental health right now, serving people. So they are qualified as humans, but they're qualified as professionals to lead us in that discussion. We're going to do some journaling time. We're going to have some open sharing time. It's just going to be a big safe space. And if it's anything like the last event that we did at the end of January, it's going to tug on us. It's going to challenge us to become the next best version of ourselves. So after that conversation, join us in the building from 12 to 3. We've got vendors who have products and services that complement your wellness work routine. Whatever your wellness work is. I turn on soaking music and I'll do a candle. Don't have to have a candle, but I'm usually gonna have some soaking music. Like Jimmica, do you have anything in particular that you do when you're having your quiet time or your journaling time, wellness
So the same. I definitely would do an instrumental, preferably in this season. No words. I noticed that difference. I'll put on a worship. A candle maybe so. Got to have the journal. Depending on the hour, I would even say that depending on the time. Like sometimes at 3 and 4 in the morning, not just silent, just me and my journal. So I really guess depending on the time that I'm up, because like we noonday, we gonna put on some music. We probably not gonna be sitting here in the silence unless that's just how it is. I guess we just going with God, but pretty much those three. some music, sometimes journals, sometimes some candles. Um, Without being discreet, I mean, we don't even soak in the, in the deep soaker sometimes. So some good lavender scents.
Oh, lavender.
In the tub. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna say this. Hey, Monica Michelle, thank you for jumping on. Look, sis, catch this bad boy from the beginning. Okay. But I was gonna say, I want to get somebody to teach us on aromatherapy
Mm,
because the fragrances are specific and they
mm,
have healing qualities for us. So I
yes.
want to do something. I got one person in mind who I know can teach on that, but it might not be what their priorities right now. But if y'all know somebody who teaches on aromatherapy, I would love to connect and see what we can do because we perish for lack of knowledge. And if there's a specific fragrance or oil, come on, the oil. We're not pimping it.
Yes.
But if there's an oil that we can apply to whatever our routine is
Mhm.
specifically, come on, man.
Yes.
Why not go with the game changers? We leveling up. This season don't look like the last season, and we're not gonna
Oh
show up
gosh,
to it
no.
like we the old version of ourselves. Period.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we ain't finna start up again, but we're closing. Oh, I don't even have my thing, y'all. I am so sorry. Let me throw it up here for you. You can
Yes.
go to www.grace
Get registered. Yes.
net. It is a hybrid event. So when you register, expect to get an email on that morning and the night before, and you'll get access to the stream. Why? Why do we do it that way? Because the Lord told me, for one. But two, because we all need access to this conversation. It's about the conversation. And it's gonna be wonderful in the room, but don't miss the conversation because you can't be in the room.
Mm.
Like, yeah, 100%. So y'all put a little register and pull up,
Get
period.
ready. Yes.
To my Lady J Speaks one more time. Make sure you're following her on all the platforms. Lady J Speaks, Lady J Speaks, and make sure you put the Z on this. All right, because I don't know who the other person is, but this is the one. Okay,
Right.
this is me. I don't even know, but this is this with the Z. So this has been a Grace for This Wellness chat with Kanisha Moselle and my sister Jimmica. Thank y'all for joining us, and we will see you next time. Peace out. Thanks, Monica.